Charis, can you please expand on heritage as it pertains particularly to the colored identity in South Africa?
Well, heritage for me is not just about where you are, but where you come from. It's in many instances a cultural thing for many people. Currently, we're sitting in a society where people more often than not prefer to acknowledge certain parts of their heritage, and some are in denial of where they come from. So I think it's quite a diverse country that we live in, and we sometimes have the problem of reconciling ourselves to who we really are based on based on what society dictates, because now currently in our current society it's a situation of, okay, what is more prevalent, my black side or my white side? And as colored people we are quite torn when it comes to that, because we can't, some of us can't decide where we want to be and which side of the fence we want to be. So I think that in itself is a mixed bag of emotions that many people experience.
I'd like to ask, do you think, when you think of Heritage Day as a celebration in the new dispensation, right? And I know this is quite contentious for most South Africans, especially coloreds. Do you think celebrating it and setting aside a specific month is a mechanism to divide the population or to unite us? What are your feelings on that?
Well, there's two sides to that coin. It can be both constructive and it can be destructive, because some people would say, okay, fine, what are the similarities between myself and another person? Sorry. What are the similarities that I share with someone? Whether our parents come from the same area or basically from the same era. But then also, like I said previously, when it comes to identifying culturally, I would then embrace my black side, for instance, or my black heritage and my black culture. And the next person wouldn't necessarily want to even be affiliated with the black side of their culture. So it's quite different for most people, and it's very hard sometimes for us to overlook those kinds of things, because what I acknowledge and can be proud of, the next person would want to hide and shun away from. So it can be a two-way street, but it depends entirely on the perspective of the individual. Like I said also, diversity is what we are all about, and that diversity should, in fact, the fact that we are so different and so unique should be a thing that unites us instead of divides us.
How important would you say knowledge of self with regards to your lineage is in shaping an individual's character? And I'm saying this with reference to the shootings, the drug abuse, etc., all these ills that are plaguing Alrado Park at the moment, especially among the youth.
Well, I've always, and I still steadfastly believe, that you cannot know where you are going unless you know where you're coming from. But your history shouldn't necessarily dictate your future, or your present for that matter. It should be an avenue for you to grow from and not sink into. So far too often, colored people specifically are put into a category where we are only known as gangsters and drug users and drug pushers, and where all these social ills that currently affect us are the only things that we are known for. I think also that when it comes to our lineage, things that were instilled in us by our parents and grandparents should be things that we should be proud of. It shouldn't be a situation of where we are constantly trying to justify or defend the manner in which we were raised. I would use myself as an example. I too come from a single parent household. It was never a situation of me having options when it came to my education, when it came to me doing the right thing in regards to what society and the world dictated. But there were certain things that were instilled in me that I could always make the right decision. And I think that, to a large extent, is where we have major issues. Parents currently are not the disciplinarians that our parents used to be. I look at my children as well, and the fact that I still spank and I still shout and I still, air my opinion. Currently, we have a society where those kinds of things are frowned upon and children become rebellious. And we don't necessarily have the necessary support from state either. Because where in the world have you heard of a child who goes out because he gets a spanking and makes a case against his parent? So there are all of these kinds of things that we need to take into consideration when it does come to lineage and culture and what my parents did and how that impacted on my present and how it will reflect or impact on my future.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.